Before you tap that update button, or if you already did and you are watching this after the fact, there are settings active on your iPhone right now that you almost certainly did not agree to turn on. Settings that are sharing your data, your location, your voice, your habits, and your app usage with Apple and third parties, and they are on by default. iOS 26 brought one of the biggest redesigns in iPhone history. It introduced Apple Intelligence deeper into the operating system than ever before, and buried inside all of that quietly, with no pop-up and no clear explanation, are a set of permissions that most users are going to leave enabled for the rest of their time on this phone without ever knowing they were there. This video is going to walk you through every one of them, where to find them, what EI actually do, why they matter, and exactly how to turn them off. Some of these are truly invasive, some are just annoying. All of them are things Apple would prefer you leave on. And every single one of them is something you have the right to disable right now. Let us go through them one by one. The first one is the big one, and it is the one most people are going to be shocked by when they understand what it is actually doing. It is called Share iPhone Analytics. Go to Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Analytics and Improvements. When you get there, you're going to see a list of toggles. The one at the top is Share iPhone Analytics, and it is on by default. Right below it, you will find Share iCloud Analytics, also on by default. Keep scrolling, and you will see Improve Siri and Dictation, and Improve AR Location Accuracy. All on. All collecting data about your behavior and sending it to Apple. Here is what Share iPhone Analytics is actually doing. It is sending Apple detailed logs of how you use your phone, which apps you open, how long you spend in them, how often you use certain features when your phone crashes, what you were doing when it crashed. Apple frames this as helping them improve their products. That is technically true. It is also true that you are an unpaid participant in an ongoing behavioral research program that you never explicitly signed up for. The data is described as anonymized, but research has consistently shown that anonymized behavioral data can be re-identified when combined with other data sets. The moment you know which apps someone uses, how often and when, you know a remarkable amount about that person. Improve. Siri and Dictation is the one that should concern you most. This setting allows Apple to store samples of your Siri interactions and dictation sessions and use them to improve Siri's accuracy. That means your voice, your words, the things you say. Hide out loud to your phone. Apple has had contractors listen to those recordings in the past. In 2019, it was revealed that contract workers were listening to private conversations accidentally triggered by Siri, including confidential discussions and intimate moments. Apple changed its practices after the backlash, but the fact that this toggle exists at all and is enabled by default means that when you dictate a text message to your wife, leave a voice note to yourself about something sensitive, or accidentally trigger Siri while having a private conversation, there is a mechanism by which that audio can leave your device and be reviewed by people you do not know. Turn all of these off. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Analytics and Improvements, toggle off Share iPhone Analytics, Share iCloud Analytics, improve Siri and Dictation, and improve AR Location Accuracy. None of these settings benefit you. They benefit Apple. You lose nothing by disabling them except the contribution you are making to Apple's data collection pipeline. The second setting you need to address is Apple Intelligence and how deeply it is allowed to learn about you. iOS 26 ships with Apple Intelligence, enabled by default on supported devices, meaning iPhone 15 Pro and newer. Apple Intelligence is genuinely useful in some areas, but the way it learns is by reading your apps. It accesses your messages, your emails, your notes, your calendar, your photos. That is how it makes suggestions, generates summaries, and personalizes responses. And by default, it is doing this across every app on your phone. Here's the setting you need to know about. Go to Settings, then Apple Intelligence and Siri. Scroll down and you will find a section called Apps. In there, you will see a list of every app on your phone with a toggle next to each one labeled Learn from this app. By default, all of them are on. What this does is allow Apple Intelligence to read the content of each app to personalize its AI features. For most apps, this is annoying but relatively harmless. For some apps, it is genuinely serious. Your banking apps, your password manager, your health apps, your private notes, your email. Do you want an AI system reading the content of your banking sessions and your private notes in order to personalize suggestions? Most people would say and no. The answer is to go through that list and turn off. Learn from this app for every app that handles sensitive information. At minimum, disable it for financial apps on HEA. LTH apps, your email app, your messaging apps, your notes app, and any app where you store passwords or sensitive personal information. You can keep it on for the NGS, like recipe apps or productivity tools, where personalization is actually useful and the content is not sensitive. If you want to go further, you can disable Apple Intelligence entirely. Go to Settings, Apple Intelligence in Siri, and toggle Apple Intelligence off at the top. You keep basic Siri functionality. You lose the AI writing to OLS, image generation, and notification summaries, but you also stop a system that has deep read access to your personal data from running continuously in the background. The third setting is one that most people have never thought about, and it involves a type of location tracking that your location services toggle has absolutely no control over. Every time your iPhone connects to a cell tower, it shares identifying information with your carrier. The carrier then uses a process called triangulation to determine where you are based on which towers you are connected to and how strong those signals are. In a city with densely packed towers, this is accurate enough to place you within a specific street address. And this happens regardless of whether you have location services turned on or off in your iPhone settings. Your app location permissions do nothing to stop this. Your carrier knows where you are, always, simply because your phone is on. Apple addressed this in iOS 26.3 with a new setting called Limit Precise Location. If you have an iPhone Air, iPhone 16e, or iPad Pro with an M5 chip, and you are on a supported carrier, you can now find this setting under Settings, Privacy and Security, Location Services, System Services. Enabling it means your carrier can only determine your approximate neighborhood, rather than your exact address. The catch is significant. This feature requires Apple's new in-house C1 or C1X modem, so it only works on the newest hardware. And in the United States, at the time of this video, it only works on Boost Mobile. If you are on AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, or most other carriers, it does not apply to your account yet. For iPhone users in the UK on EE or BT, or on Telecom in Germany, it is available. More carriers are expected to add support, but the rollout is limited. If you have the right hardware and carrier, enable this immediately. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Location Services, System Services, and look for Limit Precise Location. Turn it on. If you do not have the right hardware or carrier yet, make note of this setting and check back when you upgrade your phone or when your carrier adds support. The fourth setting is one that Apple has made deliberately confusing, and understanding it could stop your behavioral data from being sold to advertisers. It is called Allow Apps to Request to Track, and you find it at Settings, Privacy and Security, Tracking. This is the app tracking transparency system that Apple introduced a few years ago. What it controls is whether apps are allowed to pop up a prompt asking you to let them track your activity across other companies' apps and websites. The purpose of that tracking is building a behavioral profile of you that is then used to target you with ads. Here's the thing most people do not understand. There are two separate settings here. The first is the main toggle, Allow Apps to Request to Track. If you turn this off, apps cannot even ask for permission. They are automatically denied. They still show you ads. Those ads are just not based on a cross-app profile of your behavior. Below that main toggle is a list of individual apps that have previously asked for tracking permission. Go through this list. Any app showing allowed should be changed to Ask or Off. Social media apps, shopping apps, and games are the worst offenders here. When a social media app is allowed to track you across other apps and websites, it is building a profile of everywhere you go online, what you buy, what you read, what you search for. That profile is then used to sell advertising against your behavior. You are the product. This is the mechanism. Set Allow Apps to Request to Track to off entirely. This stops the pop-ups and automatically denies tracking requests. It is the cleanest solution, and it does not break any functionality in any app. The apps still work. They just cannot build a cross-app behavioral profile of you. The fifth setting is one that gets missed in almost every guide, and it involves your contact list. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Contacts. Tap on any app that shows full access. You're going to see apps that have been granted permission to read your entire contact list. That means every name, a phone number, email address, home address, a note stored for every person you have ever saved in your phone. For some apps, this permission is genuinely necessary. Your phone app, your messaging app, your email client. But for social media apps, games, shopping apps, and many others, there is no legitimate reason they need your complete contact list. What happens when a social media app reads your contact list is it uploads those contacts to its servers. That data is then used to suggest connections, build shadow profiles of people who are not even on the platform, and map your social network in ways you never consented to. The contacts you upload are not just your data. They belong to every person in your phone who never agreed to hand their information to that app. Go through every app with contacts access. For anything that does not have a genuine need for it, tap the app and change it from full access to limited access or none. For social media apps, specifically, the answer should almost always be none. The sixth setting is the Personalized Ads toggle, and while it will not stop ads from appearing, it limits how Apple uses your data to target them. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Apple advertising, and turn off personalized ads. What this does is stop Apple from using information about you, including your app usage, purchase history, and browsing behavior within Apple's platforms, to target you with ads in the App Store, Apple News, and Apple's other advertising properties. The ads do not disappear. They just become less precisely targeted because Apple is no longer building a behavioral profile to serve them. This is a quick toggle, and there is no functional trade-off. Turn it off. The seventh setting involves your photos, and it is one where the privacy stakes have been quietly significant for years. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Photos. Look at every app that has full access to your photos. What full access means is that the app can read every photo, and video in your library, not the ones you select to share. Every single one, anytime it wants, in the background. For most apps, this is not what you intended when you said yes to the photos permission request. The relevant distinction in iOS 26 is between full access and selected photos. With selected photos, the app can only see the specific images you manually choose to share with it. Go through the T of apps with full access to your photos. Social apps, shopping apps, and third-party utilities should almost all be dropped to limited or none unless you have a specific reason they need full library access. Camera replacement apps may genuinely need full access to function. Most others do not. The eighth setting is specifically for Safari, and it involves two options buried in Safari's advanced settings that most people have never seen. Go to Settings, Apps, Safari, Advanced. You're going to find a setting called Privacy Preserving Ad Measurement. This sounds like a privacy feature, and Apple frames it that way. What it actually DOEs is allow websites to measure how effective their ads were at reaching you, using a method that Apple has designed to be less invasive than conventional tracking. The data leaves your device and is processed in a way Apple describes as privacy preserving. Whether you trust that framework or not, the PR, practical choice is clear. If you would rather no ad measurement data leaves your device at all, turn this off. It is off by default in many guides and should be off on your device. Also in that Safari Advanced menu, look for Check for Apple Pay. This setting allows websites to check whether you have Apple Pay enabled. While this is used to display the Apple Pay button on checkout pages, it is also a way for websites to detect information about your device configuration. Turn it off. Apple Pay still works. Websites just cannot silently probe whether you have it before you decide to use it. Here's the last one, and it is the most underrated setting in this entire video. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, and look for the App Privacy Report. Turn it on. What this does is create an on-device log of every time any app accesses your location, your camera, your microphone, your contacts, or your photos, and every network domain that app connects to after doing so. The data stays on your device. After running it for a few days, go back and open the report. What you will find will very likely surprise you. Apps connecting to advertising networks you have never heard of, apps accessing your location in the background, apps calling home to data collection services, even when you're not actively using them. The App Privacy Report does not stop anything by itself. What it does is show you exactly what is happening on your own device, with your own data, right now. Once you can see which apps are the worst offenders, you can make informed decisions about which permissions to revoke. You can delete apps that are doing things you did not know about. You can go back through the settings in this video and tighten up the permissions for the specific apps that the report flags. Turn this on today and check it in 3 days. What you see will change how you think about every app on your phone. Here is the summary of everything to do right now in the order you should do it. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Analytics and Improvements, and turn off every toggle in that menu. Go to Settings, Apple Intelligence and Siri, and in the Apps section, turn off Learn from this app for every app. Handling sensitive data, or disable Apple Intelligence entirely if you prefer. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Tracking, and turn off Allow Apps to request to track, then go through the list of apps and revoke any existing tracking permissions. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Contacts, and remove full access from any app that does not genuinely need your entire contact list. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Photos, and change any app with full access to limited access or none unless there is a specific reason for full library access. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Apple Advertising, and turn off personalized ads. Go to Settings, Apps, Safari, Advanced, and disable Privacy Preserving Ad Measurement and check for Apple Pay. Go to Settings, Privacy and Security, App Privacy Report, and turn it on. If you have an iPhone Air, iPhone 16e, or the iPad Pro M5 on a supported carrier, also go to Settings, Privacy and Security, Location Services, System Services, and enable Limit Precise Location. Every single one of these settings was on by default. None of them required your explicit consent to activate. You now know what they do, where they are, and how to turn them off. iOS 26 is a genuinely impressive update in many ways, but impressive software does not mean you should leave every data collection tap running in the background while you use it. Your phone belongs to you. These settings should reflect that.